A well-told story has the power to reveal a truth and, at the same time, to teach us a new language in an authentic way. Today's narrative is about the fine line between truth and fiction, and it is also an opportunity for you to improve your English with an impactful and relevant story. You live in a war for attention, and in this war, the truth is often the first casualty, not through grand lies, but through small and seductive enhancements. But here is the dangerous question: what if every little shortcut we take is actually distancing us from our own integrity? This is the story of Josh, a journalist who became a master of getting clicks, an architect of improved truths, and of the report that forced him to confront the devastating price of his small and convenient lies. Josh was a product of his time, a young journalist at an online news portal in New York, where the quality of a story was measured not by its depth, but by how quickly it spread. His battlefield was the internet, his currency, clicks. He didn't just want to tell stories, he wanted to make stories that would explode. The first compromise was small, almost imperceptible, a solid but lackluster article. On an impulse, he rewrote the headline, making it a little more exaggerated, a little more dramatic. The result was instantaneous. The article's traffic tripled. The next morning, his editor praised him for the excellent engagement. And Josh felt the addictive power of improving reality. That first compromise opened the door to the second, and the second to the third. Soon, he was taking a quote and isolating it from its context to create a drama that didn't exist. Then he used a stock photo to imply a danger that hadn't happened. Every small sin was justified as making the story more interesting, and was immediately rewarded with more visibility. The slope was slippery, and Josh was sliding down at high speed. The opportunity Josh had been waiting for finally arrived. An assignment that could define his career, an investigation into a local politician. This was his chance to prove that he was more than a master of catchy headlines, that he was a serious journalist. He threw himself into the work, spending weeks investigating. But the story that emerged, though solid, was gray. There were hints of misconduct, but no definitive proof of a major scandal. It was a good article, good journalistic work, but in the world of click currency, good wasn't enough. It wasn't viral. The temptation appeared in the final interview. The source, frustrated but careful, made an ambiguous statement, a speculation. The speculation is so, and I don't have proof, the source said, but if you ask me, it seems like something illegal might be happening there. In that instant, Josh's brain, now trained to optimize the truth, saw the path. He realized that if he just removed the ambiguity, if he just omitted the "it seems like," that sentence would become the silver bullet that would turn his article into a national success. Back at his keyboard, Josh's internal battle didn't last long. Months of small compromises had paved the way for this major transgression. With a cold determination, he wrote the sentence, omitting the words that made it an opinion and turning it into an accusation. If you cook the speculation and sculpted it into a fact, and he built his entire article around this improved truth. The story was published, and, as predicted, it exploded. It was the talk of the day, shared tens of thousands of times. Josh was celebrated as a courageous and incisive journalist. The Celethus, he gave interviews, received congratulations from his bosses, and felt the intoxicating wave of viral fame. For 48 hours, he had everything he had ever wanted. The collapse was even faster than the ascent. The source, feeling betrayed and used, released the full, unedited audio of the interview to another news portal. Josh's manipulation was clear, undeniable. The internet, which had crowned him king, was now leading him to the guillotine. The news portal's retraction was humiliating and immediate, and Josh's firing was the final headline of his own tragic story. Then the days that followed, Josh's phone fell silent. The deafening noise of his viral fame and his spectacular fall had passed, leaving a vacuum. Alone in his apartment, he no longer had clicks to count, nor praise to receive, only the weight of his own choices. This always, and in that silence, a single notification, an email from his old journalism professor from college, a man he idolized. The message had no comfort, no lecture, just a single line: "We don't improve the truth, Josh. We tell it as it is. You forgot the only rule." That sentence, coming from the person whose opinion he respected most, was the final blow, and, at the same time, the only anchor in the storm. Those words were the only thing that made sense. That night, driven by a need to purge the poison, Josh began to write. That purge, he created a personal blog, and his first post was not a justification, but a confession, an honest and detailed autopsy of every small compromise he had made, every step on the slippery slope. The post didn't go viral, but the few comments he received were from a place of respect. And with that first, difficult act of integrity, he began the long journey back, focusing on small local stories, no longer hunting for clicks, but slowly rebuilding his credibility, one true sentence at a time. Josh's journey, from viral ascent to humiliating fall, teaches us that integrity is not a single big decision made in a moment of crisis, but the sum of 1,000 small daily choices. Trust, built slowly, with 1,000 acts of truth, can be destroyed instantly, not by one great lie, but by the sum of small and convenient cuts to the truth. An uncomfortable mirror, forcing us to look at our own lives and ask, in what area are we tempted to improve the truth for a quick gain? What small compromise are we considering making today, believing it has no consequences? If this story about the high price of small shortcuts resonated with you, leave a comment below, like and share the video, so this message can find others who may be heading down the same slippery slope. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind us of life's most important rules. Until next time, remember your values and pay attention to the small compromises